Calling in the highest and purest frequencies, emanations of the timekeepers, the crystalline matrix, the golden timelines. The guardians of this message coming through for those who are meant to receive, for those who are tuned in to receive this activation. Shai te kirai te te rukwai shai re te te rukwai shai re te 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 tukuruai shai sa. Shtuai shitera ikirai te no tukuai shai te kirai no tukuai shai re te 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 te. Shu tukuai shai shu tukuai shai shu tukuai sharai siterai ke te no tukuai shitakarai ne te kai shu tukuai shitakarai naita. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for receiving this message. Shai te kerai nai te terai shiterai shiterai shite kai ke kerai nei dai shai karai nei dai kai sha. Go, 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 eshaita, go, eshaita, go, eshaita, go, eshaita, go, eshaita, go, eshaita. The moment that you have been preparing for is here. The moment that you have been waiting for is here. For a long time already is finally here. Shai kire te rai shite karai te te koa ishai ta karai nai shite kaisha. This message is not unfamiliar to you, for you have already received this since years ago. Shikarai te nai kai shite kaishai tai ta shukoa ishai sa. For this moment that your guides, that your higher selves, that your team has been telling you about, this great shift. Kai te nei shai karai te te kukuai shai sa te kirai te te raisha. You have been waiting for this time to now launch, and this time is coming very soon. Shatakarai ne te shai satakarai ne shai satakarai ne. We know that this message that you have been told, coming soon, has been coming soon for years. But now, it is indeed truly coming in a few months' time, in less than 6 months. Whether you think you're ready or not, whether you think humanity is ready or not, whether you think you have the resources or not, the strength, the courage, the connections, you are ready. Humanity is ready. You have all that you need to do what you have been told to do. Something deep in your soul, deep in your bones, something that your mind keeps questioning, something that you wouldn't have imagined yourself doing. This is not about you. This is about something bigger than you, something you're assisting to anchor in this new world. And we know that this words, new world, new earth, new age, golden age, all these words that have been used you might have become numb to it, but it is not any less truth. It is coming through because it is real. And you are the bridge between these two worlds, these two frequencies, these two dimensions. You are feeling it deep in your bones. You're feeling it deep inside of you, deep within you. It's like there is a split. In contrast, the old and the new. Something shifted in your life, such that when you go back to the old, you think you can fit back into it, but you can't. You try to, but you can't, because you're not meant to. There is something else. There's something else that you came here to bridge, that you came here to anchor into this dimension, that you came here to assist the ascension. This is not just humanity or Earth. This extends to a galaxy and even beyond our galaxy. Perhaps you have been questioning. Perhaps you have been resisting these ideas that are coming through. But they keep coming through to you, that you can no longer ignore these messages. Because it's something that you don't want to do, but yet you feel that you need to do it. And you're more than willing. Deep down, it is an honor to do that. Whatever that is. However big or small you perceive it to be. But just know that it is contributing to this big shift. In the consciousness level of humanity, of the planets, the stars, the universe, beyond. At some point, everything collapses back to one, back to nothing, back to the void. But the void that is ever expanding, the reason why it is ever expanding, why it is infinite, is because of these individuated planets, stars, cells that are interacting with each other. This interaction causes an alchemy, a burst of more energy. Without interaction of these two individuated selves, systems, this alchemy would not have happened, would not have existed, and therefore energy would be finite. It wouldn't continue to expand. Our very nature is to expand. The very nature of energy is to expand, not shrink, not stay. You came here to assist the expansion. You didn't come here to fit into the structures, the systems. It doesn't mean that they are bad or good. It simply means that there is a different way. Perhaps a way that allows expansion, that aligns more with our nature of expansion. Than to shrink, than to stay stagnant, than to stay in cycles, in loops. You came here to assist in breaking out of these loops. That perhaps might be reflected in your own personal lives, your own circumstances. Know that even in your personal lives, in the things that you go through day to day, in your own circumstances, all these things contribute to the bigger field. When you break out of relationships that are holding you back, when you break out of systems that you no longer align with, all these adds to the field. And they assist the collective in breaking out of something that is created to limit them, and to align to something that they're made out of, that they're made from. Shai te karai ne tuai, shai tata tata tarai kai shi te ro tumu kuai, shata karai ne te shai tana sata karai. Your deep remembrance has begun. And this remembrance is not just remembering your past lives. It is so much more than that. Your past lives are merely a reflection of something deeper. Storylines put in place for you to understand a bigger theme. So don't get too fixated on the identities of these past timelines. Don't get too fixated on what happened. But rather, take the golden essence of these timelines, if they're all guiding you towards this thing that you came here to bridge. Dissolving all of the old identities, the old paradigms, the old belief systems in your field. It is safe to release them, clearing them out of your field. Aligning you to your blueprint. The template that you that you're born with, this divine template that you came here to anchor in. Activating it, coming online. So I felt called to pull some cards after the transmission, and here with me I am using the deck, the Golden Age deck, and I pulled 5 cards. I will show it on the screen right now, and it was a very clear message that it is a message about the year ahead, perhaps not just the year ahead, but there is something that is birthing through us. And this thing is a very big thing. It might look very different for everybody, but yet somehow the energies, the vision is very similar. The vibration of it, the frequency of it, the resonance of it is very strong, and somehow we're receiving parts of this and piecing them together. For me, I know that there is something like that coming through, and I've received this message for, I would say, maybe 2 years now, and it's kind of become something that is at the back of my awareness. And somehow this year, a few months ago, it started to come back very strongly again. And then after the whole trip to Egypt, it became very clear that certain people had to fall away. It had become very clear who resonates, and the subtleties of these resonance or alignment and misalignment can be so small, but it actually affects the whole harmonics. So the first 2 cards that really drew my attention towards this card over here, and the first message that I received about this card is that we're birthing something new. In the transmission, it kept coming through about this new world, this new age, this new paradigm shift, I don't know what words to use it, because I feel like if I use the words New Earth, if I use the word golden timelines, somehow there will be a little bit of preconceived understandings towards these things, or maybe even certain elements of distortion around these ideas. And by distortion, I don't mean bad stuff. It just, is how different people project certain ideas onto these words, and that's how words have meanings, right? So yeah, it's not necessarily bad or anything, but it just doesn't fully do justice to this frequency that is coming through. So it actually reminds me of something that one of the ladies said in our Egypt trip, and I feel like it really just explains what I feel most of the time when I transmit or I receive these energies, and I feel like it needs to come out, it needs to be said to someone or to people, or to be said in a video like this, but then there are no words to describe it, and sometimes I feel like I fail at, explaining these things or putting them through. She said, sometimes you're trying to find words, but there are only waves. Sometimes you try to find words, but there are only geometry. And I feel like, yeah, sometimes I try to find words, but there are just no words to describe what it is. So yeah, so I guess this whole experience, even when I receive transmissions from other, creators, other channelers, I try not to put too much focus on the words that they're using, not to put too much focus on the way that they interpret the messages, because that's how I interpret it, that's how they interpret it, and that depends on, what they've gone through in their lives, how their brain works, and so many other things. So I try to drop into the frequency of it, and as they're channeling, I also try to receive my own messages and not just disregard if there are certain words that drop in, or if there are certain things that come through that might or might not be things that they're also saying in the video, but then they're coming through for a reason, they're coming through for you. So back to this card, it says Lineage and the Hierophant, which is kind of like a teacher archetype. And what I feel more than, the words, more than the whole tarot meaning about this, which I actually don't do tarot, so I don't really know. If it's not because this word has came through in one of our conversations in Egypt, I wouldn't have known this, but yeah, now I do. And more than that, the image really gives me this whole birthing thing, but it's not just us birthing something entirely new into the world. It's actually backed by this lineage, and whatever lineage this is, it doesn't need to be something that you're born into, because we hold so much more than just our physical lineage, if that makes sense. We hold so much more than just what we can trace back in this incarnation. We are so much more multidimensional than that. So this lineage could be a star lineage. This lineage could be, a shamanic lineage that you just, it doesn't make any sense that you could perhaps have had a lineage, a shamanism lineage from, I don't know, the Arctic shaman that you don't have any recollection, or it can't be traced that your ancestors are from there. It might be a very, 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 very distant ancestor, or it might not even be running in your blood, but you hold the vibration of it, you hold the frequency of it. I don't know how to explain it. In a way, it's something like, sometimes, when generationally people pass down their businesses within their family, but then people within their family kind of ruins the business for whatever reason. Maybe gamble all their wealth away, generational wealth. So perhaps there is an outsider, right? He or she doesn't have like the family's blood running in them. However, somehow there is that connection, and maybe the business might be passed down to this person, and this person will continue this family thing, but then he or she is not part of the family. And in ancient times, that's not the norm, to pass something down outside of the family, the lineage. However, sometimes it just needs to be like that, because within the lineage, within the family, there's just no one else to pass it down to. Not that there's no one else, but maybe no one that is of a match, So yeah, we're birthing something, and it's backed by lineage. It's not something completely new. And we have a whole army of our ancestors, not just human ancestors, but stars, like our star families as well. And it is beginning to bloom. The seed has been planted since some time ago, and you could probably feel when it was planted, but if you don't, it doesn't matter anyway. It's been planted even perhaps before you even know it, before this whole journey has started for you. But now it is starting to bloom, and you have to trust this process, because it is not just about you, it is about something bigger than you. And in the middle of this card, you will see this yin-yang symbol. It's almost like a fusion, a convergence of the earthly energies and the galactic energies. The earthly energies is the beige colors, and then the galactic energy is the bluish colors. And it feels like all the faces that are underground, they're our human ancestors, or the human forms, and then all the ones that are above, that are bluish, are the galactic ones. So heaven and earth supporting this new world that is in fact already here, and we're in a phase of bridging, and a lot of the work will begin to happen as in above the surface. The past few years, these works have been done energetically, like beneath the surface energetically, and a lot of this work is starting to manifest, and we're part of this manifestation. We're assisting in this thing. And the second card I got pulled to is this card. It really just encapsulates what came through in the transmission about how this isn't just humanity, how this isn't just, Earth, the evolution or the ascension of Earth. It actually extends far beyond our Milky Way. It extends far beyond our galaxies and beyond, universes and beyond. And this shift is non-local. It doesn't mean that if there's no seeming connection with our planet to another planet, then this doesn't affect them. No, it does as well. So that's what I feel about this card, these two cards, that this shift is big. The effects are far beyond what we can even really comprehend. And then we have this card, Return to the Mother Tree, which I feel is something very related to this lineage card. These two cards seem to be very connected to each other. It's returning back to something. It's returning back to an ancient knowledge, something that seems to be forgotten is returning. And perhaps that might be an ancient civilization. A lot of us are remembering these lifetimes in these ancient civilizations, not to prove that we have indeed been there before or not. That's not the point. As it came through transmission, it's not about the identity, it's not about what happened, but more so it's about the lesson in that storyline that we're remembering. And also the frequency of the crystalline matrix of that timeline, of that civilization, that we are anchoring into this new world as well, this new age. There are different aspects of these ancient civilizations, so not just ancient civilizations, you know, also civilizations in other planets right now, for example, in Venus or in Mars. No matter the stories that you've heard from all these planets, it's not about whether it's true or not true. What you are remembering or what you're receiving as a remembrance in that timeline is a template that is being rendered through you to then anchor into this new paradigm. That's it. You don't really have to do anything, to be honest, because whether or not you understand what is happening, anyway, most of the time, most of these things are just working with the conscious mind, right? And our mind is just built this way to think linearly. And so some things just have to happen in order to, you know, distract this part of our brain, this part of our mind, but then something deeper is actually happening. So when our brain is thinking, oh, so this makes sense, but then beyond that, there is actually something else that is happening in the background, and this something else is actually us as this being really here, this spine that we have, this channel, this central channel that we have within our body is actually receiving these codes, and then as we walk around Earth, we actually distribute these frequencies to the land, to the people, and then whatever we do, it is infused. These frequencies are infused into the things that we do. And most particularly, this project that is being birthed through you right now. Yes, there's something that is coming through, and it is pretty big, if you don't already know. Okay, so we have this card, the Coral Reef card. This is interesting. I pulled two cards, 3 of Earth Guardians and 2 of Earth Guardians. I don't know what they mean in tarot, but because I do feel like the word guardians have been coming through a lot, and that, well, the group of people that I'm speaking to right now, I mean, if you're still watching, you definitely resonate with this. And I keep receiving guardians of timelines, guardians of certain grids, guardians of the earth, guardians of certain frequencies, certain, you know, archetypes, certain templates. And something about this image is actually guiding you to connect with the ocean, connect with different spots of the ocean. Perhaps you feel a calling to swim in, I don't know, like, I don't know why the Red Sea is coming up. I've already been there before. I've already been there because I got the message I needed to go to the blue hole. So I did that in our trip, and it definitely activated some remembrance around Sirius B. And I don't know exactly what yet. I never really felt a resonance with Sirius until until certain things happened on the trip, and then going to the Blue Hole, swimming in the Red Sea for like 4 days consecutively. It definitely is calibrating something inside of me. But this is also a message to you that if you feel called to swim at even a lake, the point is that it's a naturally occurring source of water body. So the ocean, naturally occurring source of water, like a lake or a waterfall, not man-made. There are some seas that are man-made. So in these places, there's a portal that connects to a certain place, whether that is a dimension or a planet or star or where, I don't know. It is a portal. It doesn't mean that you travel through the portal in your like flesh, even though you could, but that's not the point. The point is that connecting with this portal can actually, or the spot of the ocean, or just this ocean in general, or this water body in general, will actually activate some remembrance. Perhaps you have already been there before, but you haven't pieced the puzzle pieces together yet. But it is very important to follow these messages or these desires, because they're not random. They are here for this frequency to reconnect with you. And it is important because you, a part of you, or the very being of you, assists in anchoring this frequency into this new age, into this new paradigm. So don't use too much of your brain to think where this is or how you're gonna do it. All you have to do is, when it comes, just follow it. I guess the main message of this whole thing is to trust what is about to happen in the next year, in the next few years, because it is contributing to something bigger than you can even comprehend. Right. So the waters, they're very important. Yes, and I see a starfish, seahorse, which I feel they're trying to say something. So maybe you receive that on your own. Starfish and seahorses, maybe they are your spirit animals and it's a confirmation. Okay, last card. Last card here is the Muse, and it says, tickled by the free spirit. This card and this card seems to have these two very distinct lines through the middle, and there is a convergence of like the upper energies and the lower energies. If you can see over here as well, there's a line, and then she's like doing this thing with her hands that I feel like I sometimes do as well when I channel light language. I don't know, but it feels to me that it's bringing or fusing the energies of the heavens and earth. It is through her vessel bridging these two energies together. So the whole convergence thing, two energies that feel like they're polar opposites, that seem like they never come together, are actually coming together. And this coming together of the energies that are in the past thought to be in contrast, when they fuse, there is an alchemy that happens, and this energy, this new thing, this new energy is being born. It's like when you put two chemical compounds together and it creates a new compound. That's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting. And the word free spirit is actually talking to me. It's resonating to me, and it's coming through that. This whole shift into the new paradigm, the vibe is a very free-spirited vibe. We're no longer confined to the systems, the structures. We're no longer being restricted by what others, what society tells us is right or wrong. We create our own way of living, and the way of living that the majority would think is impossible. We're here to bridge that. We're here to show them that it is possible, not in a way that we need to prove anything to others, but in a way that we walk the talk, kind of that vibe. And we just do it because it resonates with us, and it's the life that we want. And there is a very strong belief that this is it, and there is no other way that feels more resonant than this. So the message, the last message from the muse is to trust in this whole process. That this thing that you have been told that is happening for a long time already is indeed happening. It is not like a joke. It is happening. It is real. And you play a part in this. And try to enjoy this whole process, because it is enjoyable. It gets to be enjoyable, or rather, it is enjoyable. It just feels a little bit slow because you have an expectation of how it should turn out. You have an expectation of the timeline. Therefore, it feels like, oh, it's not coming yet, or it feels like, is it ever gonna come? Do I need to do something? What's happening? You know? But that's because there is the old paradigm in your head that's running on how things are supposed to be and how things can work out. But then what if it can work out even if you do nothing at all, even if you just have fun in your life? And that's the key. The key to expansion is joy. The key to expansion, which is our very nature, right? That came through in transmission. Our very nature is to expand, not to contract, not to shrink. So can you find something that brings joy to your life? Or rather, what brings joy to your life? Is that singing? Is that dancing? Is that playing a musical instrument? Is that talking to someone? Is that bringing yourself on a date to a cafe, having a great meal, feeding yourself well? Is that cooking? Is that cleaning? Anything? Is that just driving around aimlessly? Find that thing that used to bring you joy, that still brings you joy, but you never do it anymore because of whatever excuses that you've made up for yourself. Can you incorporate that into your life again? And when you do that, remember that joy, this frequency of joy, bring that into your life. And that is what creates expansion. And that is what will anchor in one of the most important template of the new paradigm. Our life is a vacation. We get to enjoy every day of it. It is not a weekend only that we get to enjoy. It's not a vacation only that we get to enjoy. Every day gets to be a vacation. Every day is a vacation. Our life on earth is a vacation.